Welcome to another episode of the condo renovation. Hey, if you've been with me, thanks very much. I mean, this episode was supposed to be about me painting some door frames, and I'm still gonna probably work on those later, but the Spectrum guy is supposed to be here after a while for the cable and the internet connection and stuff. We're kind of hanging out, and so I thought I'd put my electrician's hat on for a minute and fix a couple different plugs. Now, I was getting ready to put the cover plates back on, and just because you took the cover plates off, here's an idea for you. And when you get ready to paint, take your cover plates off. I just put that one on. It looks just slightly crooked there. My pet peeve is after you install your cover plates, they can kind of wiggle just a hair. If you stand back and look at it, you can line them up straight, even though there's only one screw on there. Okay, and so I thought, oh, I'll just put on the cover plates while I'm waiting. But just because the cover plates came off doesn't mean you can just plop them back on there, because there's going to be a few things that you might want to take care of first. You know, your electrical outlet could be slightly crooked, so I've already adjusted some back and forth a little bit. And see this one here, I left the cover plate off for a second, and I know that's not ready to put in yet because this is kind of coming out at an angle, and the top is pushed in further than it should be. So when I put the cover plate on, this top electrical outlet is pushed into the wall a little bit. It's not going to be flush. And of course, I've got to turn the power off to be able to fix that. You can kind of see this tab here. See how the tab is up at an angle. See? That's because this has been pushed in. And so I've got to pull that out, rebend the tab, and then after I pull it out, I can see this is not coming in straight. It's kind of off at an angle. So I'll pull it out far enough so I can take it and kind of wrench it and bend it over to the left a little bit, bend that top bracket. Hopefully it won't break. And then I can screw it carefully back on there and get the cover plate on there nice and straight. You know, you just take a little bit of time, and you can do these things on your own. And so that's one that I've got to do. And I left another one down here. I'm not even going to actually do these just yet. I'm going to show you another one up in a bedroom. But see this one here? Can you see how it's coming out at an angle? See that? Look at that. It's coming way out at an angle. It needs, this side is lower than this side. This side's sticking way out. So if I just put the cover plate on, this edge is going to stick way out from the actual edge of the cover plate. This side's going to be pushed in. I don't like doing stuff like that. I want to fix that. So, you know, that's another one I've got to do. And I don't know if I'm going to put those on this particular video. I may make a separate video of that and title it something slightly different than this other one. And most of the cover plates went on pretty good here. And like I said, I had to adjust a few. And I adjusted them. You shouldn't really adjust them with a screwdriver, but I do when the power's on. I really shouldn't. But now look at this one here. See the let's get that little thing out of there. See this top bracket, how it's bent up like that at an angle? Well, it shouldn't be like that. That has this electrical outlet up here pushed in further than the bottom one. Can you kind of see that? I can't get you up any closer to the wall. If I put the cover plate on, this one's going to be sunk into the cover plate. You might think, oh, well, you know, is anybody really going to care? Well, I care. I want things right. So I've got to turn the power off to this. This is the one we're going to work on, and I'm going to show you what I do after that, okay? And I know this power is on. Let's just find my trusty little electrical tester. Where is it? I usually carry it in my top. Oh, there it is. The top of my mail bag. I'll just put it on. And it doesn't matter which side you poke this in. Okay, see, just kind of move this and see the light's on. And that says 110 down there. That says 220. I've never even used the 220 one. I don't even care about that one, because usually the only thing I test is electrical outlet wiring, light fixture wiring, light switch wiring, and stuff like that. Okay, just wiggle it around a little bit, and I know the power's on. Okay, so I've got to find the right breaker, and I'll be right back to show you what I do with this plug. I relocated the camera. Hopefully you can see this. I just turned off the breaker. I think it was because it said bedroom outlets, but then there was one that said master bedroom outlets, and I just want to take that in there, wiggle it around a little bit, make double sure that this is the one. And if you have a lamp, an extension cord, a radio, anything like that, you could plug that in and check it. Okay, so I feel pretty confident that that's the one. Okay, remember in the same room, I haven't fixed it yet, but I had a tab like that was loose, and I was pushing it back and forth. It was actually snapped off. I still have to replace that, so you're in luck on that. On a different episode, I will be showing how to actually replace one of these electrical outlets, and it's very simple to do. You don't have to be an electrician in order to do this. Newsflash. Okay, I'm just going to take this all the way out, this screw here, and it's got a little cardboard washer on the back, and I can kind of pull that off. You see, it holds that on the back of that. Some do, some don't, and then you just kind of push it on there, and it holds, keeps your screws from falling out and getting lost and stuff. See how far that sticks out? Okay, so I'm going to just pull that out like that, and grab my pliers and see if I can't bend that without snapping that off. I'm pretty sure I can. I still, even though the power's off, I still am careful, you know. Okay, I'm going to tweak that. That looks good. That's nice and straight. Now, okay, that's all I did. Okay. Now I can just push this back in there like that. Make sure it looks like it's kind of coming out slightly at an angle, so I'm just gonna tweak it over that way with the wires, and that's looking nice. I'm thinking that's okay. I'm gonna do it just a hair more like that. And you should be able to tweak your stuff, because it's just the wire that you're bending, that you're repositioning. And I always like to do these screws by hand. I don't like to get my battery operated drill out for that. You could strip these in your plastic electrical outlet, you know. And I don't really need to put this washer back on, but if you really want and so inclined to have it back on, you could stick it back on, just like that. I'm just lining it up. You got a Phillips screwdriver, and that's about all you're going to need to fix this. Okay. And see, it can move around. There's slop on the screws, so just because you look at your outlet and you see that it's slightly crooked, yeah, you can move it. I just want to get it snug. If you over tighten the screw, you can push that little bracket. You can bend it enough, and this will sink right down into this wall again. If you want it, you just want to make it snug. Okay, then I just take on the side and do that. Okay, and the bottom one, I haven't tightened it up enough yet. And I'm just lining that up. That looks way straighter. Give it just a little twist here. Okay. Oh, sorry, you need a standard screwdriver too. My mistake. Yeah. Okay. Put that back on there. Okay. Oh, and when you take the cover plates off, I can look at it and see. I usually like to clean these off, and this time we didn't really clean them. But sometimes you'll have some paint droppings on the top. You can take your sheetrock knife or paint. If you get a little paint on there or caulking on the backside, you can just take your sheetrock knife and do this business, and you can clean it. You can clean it right off. I've done that to many cover plate before, and cleaning off the paint that's stuck on there, because the last person installed these when the paint was slightly still wet the very next day. If you're painting walls, wait a couple days before you put your cover plates back on. Okay, and then if you happen to see some crummy stuff on there, flip it over, and this one could be nice and clean because it was always down at the bottom anyways. Now you're just gonna flip it up to the top, or clean it off with your sheetrock knife. Very simple to do. Make your things look nice, and I'm looking back here and see you can slightly wiggle this a little bit both directions. And the key is not to over tighten this screw. Sometimes you tighten that too much, and if your cover plate's not those vinyl new style cover plates, maybe they're just a hard plastic, not plastic, but it's kind of like not vinyl either, but it's hard. And if you tighten the screw too much, sometimes you can crack that, especially with light switches. Okay, there. I'm looking at that. That's looking good. See, it's flush. This is sticking flush with that. That's flush. It's all nice. It looks good. And you've done it, VideoJoe. That's all you got to do. You don't have to be an electrician to fix your electrical outlets. Now had I bent that tab on the electrical outlet, and it cracks me up. Remember, I called it a plug. Some people say, "Hey Joe, that's not a plug. That's an electrical duplex receptacle." Okay, yeah, right. But years ago when I started installing, they called them plugs. But in any case, if I were to have taken that metal bracket and bent it and broke it off, or if it was already snapped off and maybe that's why that was pushed in too far, then I would have to replace this whole electrical outlet. Because this is the old school design, I would get the same old school design, and they have these in Navajo white, and they also have them in white. So look and see what you got. You want to replace like for like. You don't want to put a Navajo white one in there, which is kind of an off-white color, with a white cover plate, and all your other stuff in your room is the other color. I mean, take note of that. Take your outlet if you have to. You could take it to the store or take a picture of it and get like for like. I always like to match existing conditions the best I can. Nowadays, the electrical outlets aren't separated like this as much. They're in a rectangle. Have you seen those? Those are the ones that most people install nowadays. But they install the very same. So, hey, next time I find one which is broken, which actually I do have a broken one, I'll show you that on another video. And it just happens to be this top one here. And I put the cover plate back on just because I thought Spectrum was going to be here working on all this stuff. And Momi, she brought her computer over, she brought her printer over, she brought her all of her remote, her Netgear modem, and the phone and all that. So when Spectrum's here, there's a tip for you when you get your cable installed, and if they're doing your phone service and all that, have all your stuff there so that before they leave, you know the computer's hooked up properly, the modem's hooked up properly, the printer is hooked up through the modem into your computer properly and all that kind of stuff. So we got it all set in here waiting for the guy. And so that's why I put the cover plate back on, just for kicks. But see, this top one is springy. That's because it's not screwed in, because that top bracket is broken and it's actually missing now. So next time I go to the store, I'll pick up an electrical outlet, and I'll show you that on a different episode. Don't worry.